Is there any way of knowing?
I can go back and look at that. Depends on what's on the agenda. Yeah.
I texted Matt, I'm sure he'll join us, but. All right, 6:30, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Raymond Papka.
Here.
Mike Hall.
Here.
J.D. Woods. Matt Myers.
Here.
Deborah Shockley. Here.
All right, at this time we'll review the minutes from the March 4th meeting. And entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, new business, case number 04003, 2025, Certificate of Appropriateness, Rick and Steele Real Estate LLC, 101 North Main Street, District 2, Article 7, Section 720. Owner applicant is seeking to resurface block exterior and stair towers on rooftop with EIFS material, color match to existing building. Alex, I believe you're here to discuss this.
Yep.
Sure. Yep.
So, I mean, first, apologies that we didn't run this through before it all happened. I have a architect and a code enforcement person working for me, and they didn't cast it. We're supposed to run it through Board of Architectural Review, so my apologies there. I had reached out about the sign, the exterior sign that you guys approved, and it was asked to come back ahead for this resurfacing as well. So as you guys will have probably noticed, we have resurfaced it just because we're moving. If we want a different surface, we can swap it out. We just felt that was what honored the historic building the best. That area is outside of the sightline study for. Oh yes.
Thank you.
No problem. I even moved it so that it was in front of my mouth. So that area is outside of the sightline study for historic from the Main Street sightline study. So we've run it through National Park Service as well as State Historic, and that surfacing did not require an approval by them. So there's not a historic issue with the surfacing if you guys wanted something different there.
And I did send out those photos again.
What questions do you have?
Work has been completed.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
It's just a retroactive request.
Yes, sir.
And I think in the photos that you guys have, the most recent, that's just a sightline survey. The work had not been completed in those photos that you have, so.
So on this thing here, it says that these plans have been submitted for approval for permit. That's the plans for the elevator shaft and the stair tower, or is that?
Yes,
That was
yeah,
submitted.
that was the actual protrusions coming out of the building, yeah.
Was that also done after, like, submitted after they were built, or did you do that?
No,
Yeah.
those were submitted way
Okay,
ahead of
just
time.
wondering.
No, I
It
think.
says these plans have all been, so I thought.
Yeah, I think the reasoning that was submitted was that our architect wanted to, he didn't know that we were supposed to submit it here too. He wanted to make sure that we had followed the processes we knew we were supposed to follow, so.
And I think, Alex, that's the question of the existence of them on the building.
Yeah,
Is that probably would have triggered this review from building inspection at that time. So I think that's like what I think that's like an underlying kind of question is like, you realize why you had to have them, but it probably would have triggered, I think your team would agree, or we would think that it would trigger this meeting based on the permitting of the.
right, yeah.
That
So
makes
you're
perfect
thinking
sense.
that it got missed with Steve, or whomever was reviewing the plans for permitting? And that they just missed that?
If it was permitted, then I think it was.
Was it on your original building plans?
It was.
They were? Yeah, that would be Josh.
Yeah.
So we still don't have the set of plans to review in this set, we just have pictures of the building itself, but we don't have the actual elevations drawn up to review.
Yeah, there's
No, we
digital,
don't.
I guess. I just looked through the file
Yeah.
and there's nothing in there.
But
Yeah,
usually, to do our review, we have a set of plans, elevations, plans of some sort to look off of.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, the reasoning behind that sentence in there is we submitted them, and we're happy to give you guys whatever you need. We just don't know exactly what
I mean, don't we have to review
this
the
review
plans?
is for.
Well, we're kind of after the fact. I mean,
as a process, we still have to go through the process, right?
well, I think the process now is just approving the surface. Because the shafts they're already there. There's
Yeah,
really nothing.
I think what we're talking about is, is EFS an approved, material, and I guess, I don't think we've ever approved EFS before that I can recall, but, it may be just deemed an appropriate material when it's up, that high.
I can go try to find those, Matt.
I'm just trying to be fair with everybody else submitting
Sure.
everything, that everybody has to submit a set of plans for us to review, just as a process.
Yeah, and that's where I think we would hope it would have been caught at that point, so we could have submitted them before we built the shafts, right? I mean,
Deborah, I'm on to the EFS portion because I believe that's what we're discussing. Because this was permitted, and now we're retroactively looking at the EFS. I tend to think that It is a special scenario because it is, it's on the third floor. I can't think of a product that, this is just my opinion, everybody, by the way, and we can say, you know, EFS is the wrong product, or, you know, we can have different opinions, but I can't think of a siding product that would look more appropriate, and I don't know if cladding with limestone is, that seems extreme for what it is.
Yeah, and that
my
might look a
opinion.
little odd.
Yeah, yeah. So
Sticking
an
up.
extension of the building. So I tend to.
Yeah.
I know you just mentioned that, but I tend to actually have that.
Yeah,
I tend to have that feeling
yeah.
that it is probably the way it's currently cladded is. Again, it might be hard to find a material that would not stand out. We're kind of looking for that to go away.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, like metal panel wouldn't have looked good, and you know, this building is it's totally, you know, limestone
Right.
covered. I guess for me, it's just that they're so square, and the top just has no, of the shafts has no detail.
Sure.
And you know, the top of the, you know, the building has a fairly nice limestone cornice type detail, and I'm just
Parapet, yeah.
parapet
Yeah.
detail, and I'm just wondering, you know, so is the roof complete on the top of these, the roof membrane, and that parapet's done? Because I couldn't see any fascia or coping metals or anything. I didn't know how the parapet termination was being done.
And you're going to, that leads into, is there going to be a railing up there for occupancy on the roof in the future?
On the front of the non-historic side, so on the front of the brick side, and that will obviously, you guys will have to review that for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I think we need to have a set of plans, complete set of plans, so we have a comprehensive.
Is it
idea.
this side, Alex?
Yes.
Okay.
And it has quite a setback as well. I think it's either 4 or 6 foot setback off that, off the front of that wall. I will tell you, and I don't know, since that submission, you guys obviously have probably seen these because you're sitting here and it's right across the street. They have added the roof cap now, which does add a little bit of detail on the top. And then, but yeah, there is, it's not just a giant rectangle anymore.
Yeah, did you see this today? Did you see them?
Yeah, walking in I did, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. What other questions do we have?
I agree with Matt that it'd be nice to have a set of plans just on file. For process purposes and for future potential whatever might come up.
I'll send them out with the next request for the railing.
Okay. And then the question of the EFS, is this going to be setting a precedent down the road to allow EFS on Main Street? Just as an open question.
Yeah, I mean, it could. You know, I mean, if somebody wanted to recreate a cornice or, you know, a fascia down low above a storefront, you know, I mean, they could say they wanted to use EFS. So I was wondering if it would be a height and setback material,
Yeah.
you know, lighter weight. I mean,
And if so, I mean, we don't have any language in our guidelines.
I don't think we do at all, especially for, you know, roof, you know, top items. We've never had anybody do any
Yeah.
roof decks or anything, or add access to the roof, so.
There was previously an elevator? We're getting into structural elements here, but there was previously an elevator there?
Both of those elevators were existing
Existing.
shafts, and then we just extended the shafts.
Okay. And that was for access to the rooftop?
Correct.
Okay.
many shafts are up there?
2 elevator shafts and then a staircase extension,
Okay.
so 3 additional.
The staircase extension is the one, I'm not sure it's shown in this photograph, it's the taller one inside of the elevator shaft?
The staircase extension is,
This one,
yeah, it's next to that taller
the
one.
one,
It
I think-
abuts that tall elevator.
yeah.
Okay.
And then actually, I misspoke. There are 2 staircase extensions because there's one on the back that it terminated in an access hatch. We just extended it so that it'd be steps all the way up. It's not visible from main or court.
All right. I'm hearing that we want to see plans, but we believe we have plans on file. Do you think those plans on file would have the facade called out then
The
at the time of
EFIS,
submittal? Yes.
probably not.
Okay. They're just showing that there are going to be the shafts.
Yeah, realistically, I think EFIS was only chosen 60 days ago, and those plans were submitted.
But they were for the structural additions of the shafts. I'm
Correct.
assuming. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So just my own clarity, these are photographs, right?
Yes.
So why is that vertical line there, but like, because there's a vertical line down here, right, in the limestone, and then up there, it's continued on this picture, but now, after it's done, it's a horizontal line, and the vertical line's not there. Why is that?
That's a good question, because that's from a Google Earth photo.
Because this looks, I like the look of the line going way up. That's why when I saw it tonight,
I think,
I thought, I wondered about that. And
so it could be because those were originally, half of that is elevator, half of it's staircase, so maybe that's just the line that the cinder block took. I don't.
So it might be, this is before the outer coatings on it, so this is just the concrete block is doing that. That could be, because there's definitely a line there.
No, I think.
And this seems to be about the same width as the old, because that's the old shaft, I imagine. So it went right up and that line went up, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then when I look at it this morning, then it has that, regular driver-looking V groove that's sort of common.
I don't know
which you
anything
kind of
about.
don't like.
I don't know anything about EFIS, but if we can dig a line down the middle, I'd actually prefer that too.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, it's a little easier to do that before you put the coating on it. They just take a hot wire and they can make any shape you want. I was going to say, I guess it could have had some scoring to simulate the limestone here.
Don't tell my wife; she'll make us do it after the fact.
She may be listening.
It's just you probably have to recoat the whole thing because it doesn't blend very well.
So the only facade that's going to have a railing is the front of the brick facade?
Correct.
And I imagine that this is, because that's actually at a higher elevation, but I imagine the roof is at a higher elevation up there, and that's what's causing that? Okay.
Yeah. So the left side's only 2 stories. The right side's 3. The limestone's only 2.
Okay. So you have plenty of parapet wall on this side that's basically acting as a railing.
Yeah, and people can't access that side either.
Okay.
So
That's not the
locked off.
rooftop.
The rooftop bar's only on top of the brick.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I think it all kind of ties in, to be honest. I think some of those things make more sense when they come together. That's a use up there now, that there's a railing, that just in my mind.
Does the drawing show the type of material of the railing?
It will when we submit it for approval. We haven't chosen the railing yet. Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys have any suggestions on that? I mean, probably not part of this approval process, but we're actually searching because I don't love wrought iron, but that seems to be what everyone's defaulting to.
Is it visible? Can we see it? You said it's backset. What?
Not on the sight lines. You can only see it from the rooftop, basically. If you can see it from the main street, it might be just the very top. You wouldn't know what it
So
was.
that would make a difference on how much say we have in it, is that correct?
Do you know, according to code, how tall it has to be
42.
42.
Yeah.
42.
on the rooftop?
From the surface there, so I don't know. I'm sure there's a parapet wall, so it's going to sit inside the parapet walls. My understanding is
So that's about 4 to 6 feet inside the parapet wall.
it's not going to be very visible from the pedestrian walk or car on
Yeah,
Main,
and that's-
but kind of like
From church, no.
from here. I mean, you know, this other tower that's here is pretty tall. There's another tower. Maybe that's it. I don't know. And again, I think we're talking about EFIS, but there's another tall tower here. So I think there's angles you can see things. It's kind of down, you know, going downhill. I actually think it kind of adds to, again, the purpose of it, because right now, you know, we've got a clock, we've got a steeple, and we got an elevator tower. So from an architectural standpoint, I'm not, again, we're not talking about the structure of that, but when there's a railing there and it's an outdoor patio space, I think that all just adds to at least the use of downtown. So that's my opinion. So I like the idea of it. The architects in the room may have an idea on material. I assumed it would be a metal railing.
Well, I guess the point that I'm getting at is that for us to have you say so, we'd have to be able to see it, so.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
if it's not in our
Yep,
viewport,
Our view,
Viewport, yeah.
That's
then,
right.
then you do what you want.
Correct.
so I don't,
Yeah.
I need to confirm that from, in the packet of information.
from plans with us now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we have not submitted that rail for permits or anything
That's
yet.
why I asked how
Yeah.
tall it had to be.
Yeah. Yeah, frankly, I was just asking because we're looking for ideas right now.
Yeah. Wrought iron would probably be more in keeping with your style. Well, I don't know. I mean, the age of that building, I mean, you know, stainless steel probably was in the stair.
On that side,
Yeah, probably so, yeah. I don't know about the brick side. It looks more 70s, 60s, 70s, but, yeah, but, yeah, railing's hard. Exterior railing's hard. Because a lot of the aluminum galvanized that we use, it's not very stylish.
Decorative metal, call it. Yeah. All right. What other questions do we have, or are we able to make a motion, or do we need more information? I'm getting kind of a mixed.
I'm kind of wondering, I'm waiting for it to end the public portion so we can talk about it.
Sounds good. All right. Any more questions for Alex? Mr. Riddle? All right. We're going to end the public portion. Please stay. We're going to discuss it here amongst ourselves. We may have other questions, but just a formality. All right. What are our thoughts?
So, I want to hear what Matt thought a little more about why we might want the plans. I think I understand it, but the way I'm looking at it is, I would love to have the plans before they put those up, so we could have some say-so on whether or not it mimicked the parapet walls a little bit, you know, they gave it a little more look instead of just that, what is pretty obvious even from the ground that it's stucco, you know, it's not the other. So that, the fact that they're gonna match the color, you know, that looks nice, and then like, I kind of agree, there's not many products that I would wanna, that I think I could put up there aside from a veneer of limestone, which I wouldn't be against.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but, but that's kind of like, we're past that, or are we past that? So I'm assuming we're past that, and this is sort of it. And if it is it, then it's just a question of whether or not we use that product. I have no objection to that product, personally, although I think I I mentioned about the horizontal line, I just would have done something different because that line is so prominent going up, and it is what it is. I've tried to stare at it like, okay, how much is somebody going to stare at this? How prominent? How much is it just take away from the building? I don't know.
The relief line in the stucco really looks like a modern stucco job, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
which is, yeah, exactly. And
And
this
there may
is
be
kind of
ways
what, to your point about if we unless we maybe want to use some language, if we say we do pass this, then maybe we want to use some language to protect ourselves from somebody saying, well, I'm going to mimic my whole cornice work, and we know that how impossible that really is going to be to pull off, as opposed to wood or something like that. So, but maybe not. Maybe it's just like, if you can do it, and you know, I mean, we're using ASEC and other products now that mimic these things. So
Yeah, I kind of thought through it from a construction perspective too, even like a Frau Reglet or, you know, or a James Hardy or AZEC. Like it's hard to think of what would give that limestone look, because it's hard to pull off. So yeah, I agree.
Just the simple cuts,
Yeah.
score lines would have done it.
I agree. Some cuts in that would have made a world of difference. Just like,
But to be fair with all the other applicants that ever submitted anything, I think it's fair just to have even though it's after the fact, to have the documentation on file.
Yeah. I think that can be done in a motion myself. I mean, I don't know that we need to rewrite the bylaws to address it.
Yeah, they could submit it, because we review plans online or email just after the fact sometimes, if they made a small change.
are your intentions to just have that as record? Here was the plans, but we approved this, which is kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's.
I'd say just to protect ourselves in a way, one. And
So your intentions are to look at it and go, you know what? Let's
we already know
change
what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But just for documentation purposes, making sure that everybody's submitted something that's required, and if something might happen down the road where someone might not want to submit something, or.
Well, I think it's conceivable that we could, I mean, maybe it is, or in my mind, it's possible to accept this as it's done without, and make it clear that we're not accepting this as something that we're going to accept on Main Street going forward.
That too, I mean.
Because they just
We're using,
basically, it's like somebody saying they put the vinyl windows, like after the fact, and they got $100,000 worth of vinyl windows in that house on Morgan Street, and you know what, we're not trying to be that kind of person, so let's fix the one in the front, leave the one on the side, let's work with you, you know, that kind of a thing. But we weren't accepting vinyl windows by doing something like that. Not that we've done that, but you know what I mean, I could conceive of that idea. So if there's some way we can put that in the language to, again, protect us, but also not set a precedent for, we don't want it to look like that.
I have a few thoughts. I think that because I feel like a couple things have come up, I think that the reality is that what we don't have a say on is that structurally it was permitted and it's there, right? I still think the facade is somewhat,
That's true.
is what we're here to discuss. So, is the facade that's on it. So it's been installed. Having been in that situation myself on buildings, I understand the unique challenges to it. Not that that's my charge here in this room is to consider those things, but I understand that there are a lot of other materials that we do approve that wouldn't look as good. You know, Hardy, we've approved, like AZAC, you know, whatever it is. There's a lot of siding type materials that you would adhere to that shaft, elevator shaft, and they would not look as good. I agree that the relief lines are done to the standard of a relief line on a EFS building, and that's what kind of throws it off a little bit. Maybe the color too is a little, I don't know if it still has to get painted or.
Probably not, but I bet you if they washed the building, it'd help a little bit.
Yeah. So,
But throw
So-
some yogurt on the EVIS, that'll work.
yeah. So, yeah, I just, and the last point I was gonna make is I think that the language is that it's on the rooftop, and it's, in my mind, again, probably, without cladding it in limestone, is probably one of the, and to your point, they probably could have done better. She's drawing a cap.
I know, it's pretty
Could have
Yeah.
a cap or
Yeah.
different things, and that's where plans come in, if you guys wanna see plans.
Oh, I
Well,
was just kind of fooling around with a
but
little cap.
I kind of agree with you
Yeah.
I mean, not to throw our building inspector under the bus, but if it got dropped there's not much we can do about that. It should have been caught. We would have had opportunity at that point to say, wait, I don't know about that, but since that's even to have him come back and have us look at this is sort of like also under the bridge as far as I'm concerned. So, I really don't even know if we need to put any language like we've accepted or whatever, it just is. And kind of the way I kind of look at a lot of these people, we have our bylaws. And when the bylaws are iffy, that's kind of why people come in and say, we don't quite meet this, but here's what we think we want to do. And we look at it and go, in this situation, that's a good go. So when I look at this and I go, kind of agreeing with you, in this situation, that product in this situation is a good go. I don't need to change the bylaws to accept that as one of the ones, because if somebody wants to do something on Main Street, I can look at it again, because it doesn't meet, if it was product we've already approved, I don't get as much to say so.
Right.
As if they want to come up with something that isn't approved.
On a case-by-case basis.
Yes, because it seems to be case by case anyway.
Yeah,
It is. That's why there's a board, right?
yeah.
Yep,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
so, anyway.
I agree. Deborah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably it's probably the better material that, that could go up there. I mean, it's just neutral, And it's interesting looking at this, because this looks like this got added on probably like in the 40s or 50s. 60s, that part, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm.
3 separate buildings.
Yeah, 3 separate buildings, okay.
Well, I think they did a pretty good job with the shaft. Now that it's finished and it's got the E-metal on and everything, the gutter, looks nice. There's nothing objectionable about it. I don't have any objection to Matt's request for the other, but I also don't have any problem just approving this thing like it is so that he can move on. And I don't see that this is any more than just a nicety to come in and say that he brought it to us and we saw it and wish we had a chance to chime in on it before it was done, but it's done. And I don't think it's so egregious that we're going to vote to change it.
No. I mean, they already have the drawings on file, we just need to put it in our files.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And do I hear a motion coming?
Matt's got a motion, he's gonna include that somehow, I wanna hear him do it.
And I think,
Matt might be on the wrong side of the vote here.
He may be, that's true.
Sometimes.
no, I'm fine with it, I'm just thinking of the big picture, processing, documentation, future.
I meant wrong side to make a motion, by the way. Not
I
wrong
know what you
side.
meant, I know what you meant.
I think Deborah has the art of putting these together.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve, application 04-603-2025 for Rick and Still LLC to approve the EFS coating that has been installed on the elevator and stair towers at 151 South Main. And I will include that, you know, in the future, EFS would be an appropriate material if someone is going to be adding items at the roof line or above. And we want to see the plans that were initially submitted for at least the third floor and the roof.
Second.
All right. Further discussion? All right. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Motion carries. Alex, did you have something else to add?
No, do you need me to send you a plan set, or are you gonna pull it from the file?
I'll pull it from the digital. I do have a question though about the railing. If you think it is visible, then he needs to come back. If you don't think it's visible,
No, we don't know.
I think that we'd like to see the railing if
Okay.
it's visible.
If it's visible.
So I think it's really
I'll send
it's
out the
incumbent to
plans
him
and we'll
to
determine
say,
from that.
he can figure out if it's gonna be visible. And if it is, he knows he's gotta come and get approved. If he puts it up and it's not visible, I mean, it's visible and he didn't get it approved, then he'll have that big fine again.
How about I just submit it regardless?
Well, you could do that. You could do that.
I'll send the plans out and we'll determine from that.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all. Yep.
Do we have any more business?
I'll make a motion.
Well, yes. I guess seeing that, having driven by the rear of, do you all need pictures? I brought everybody a picture. I will enter in that I am passing out
I saw that
photographs of
Yeah,
the back of 116 East Main Street in Midway, Kentucky. There's one for Kim.
Thank you.
Yes, it was brought to my attention that the back of 116 East Main Street in Midway is wide open. It's evidenced by this picture, and an entirely new deck has been built. So I have kept every piece of information I thought that we have had from Nessa's applications of this building, but did I miss, let me see, I had a printout. Did I give you the
No,
motion
you
that-
gave us just the two.
Oh.
April Fools.
I know. Gotcha. Oh, I guess this is it. So I guess we had a meeting on December the 5th of 2023. I guess that was the last time he came. And I was looking at that motion, and because I was looking back at a meeting that we had on June 5th of 2023, and at that point we had asked him to come back with the three sides and the rear elevation. And I guess in December the 5th, 2023 meeting, had a motion to remodel, repair the front facade, exterior side and rear elevations, and new roof, and rebuild rear deck, all as noted in the photographs and submitted into the record. But I didn't have any pictures from that meeting, so I don't know. But I mean, I made the motion, so I guess I must have had it at some point.
Also supposed to be weather.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be, weather tight, animal tight, protect citizens, so,
And I believe there was an 18-month timeline on
Yes.
the completion of the facade. front.
the front facade, yes, yes.
And that was going to then, that 18-month timeline was going to
That expires June 5th.
June 5th,
expire, and that would terminate the building permit at that time.
yeah. So I do have these
Or
loose
make him unable to
photos,
acquire a building permit.
so I'm assuming that's what he must have submitted. I've got a lot of loose photos that just didn't have a date associated with them.
Those were the photos of.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what it looks like now? That was the,
That's the original.
Jeez. This deck is a monstrosity.
It's a deck. It's well built, I will tell you that.
I just don't remember the original plans looking like that.
I don't think, from everything that I have in all the packets he's ever submitted, nothing's ever had a rear deck shown.
That's right.
He's shown a door coming out of the side elevation with stairs coming down, but we've never had, from everything that I have, we've never had plans submitted for a rear deck. But I assume that Josh has seen it and approved it,
Yes.
so.
I believe I had heard from Steve a few months ago that he had been working through the facade. Correct?
Yes.
Is that the owner that they're working on the facade?
Yeah, and planning to be complete. Yeah, what's the front of the building looking like?
He did some work and it seemed to stop around Thanksgiving. I have not seen any activity since.
I think the doors are in.
There's a door in, there's like one piece of something, I can't tell if it's plexiglass or a single piece of glass, but there's one, what appears to be the start of a window.
But there's no siding.
Mm-mm. And the other windows are boarded up.
What happens when it expires? Lose their building permit?
I believe they will not be able to renew their building permit. They'll no longer be in compliance, and then I believe they would, whether the building permit terminates immediately or not able to be renewed in 6 months, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was some,
Yeah, it said let's see. Stabilization of the second floor and front facade shall be completed within 18 months, and if work has not progressed within the 18 months, then a zoning violation would be placed on the property, and a formal violation would be given that could result in a criminal summons. The remaining 3 sides are to be completed within the following 9 months.
yeah, so that's what I remember, is that it sort of took the onus, for lack of a better way of putting it on us. It's like, it's formal, Steve's in it, it's kind of out of our hands, it's kind of a nice thing, so hopefully he's got to
So
perform,
that's
put some real
basically
teeth.
27 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
because
not
he
in
had,
court anymore, right?
right, that's what I mean, the
That's
teeth
right.
come in,
The first, well, yeah, that's true.
so the front facade,
should be done in 2 months.
so from December 5th of 2023, then that, and he had 18 months for the front and the stabilization of the second floor. Okay, yeah. And then yeah, and then he had 3 sides.
Oh, you didn't, oh,
3 sides for another 9 months. But June 5th is the end of the 18 months.
But is this out of our hands at this point in terms of?
Yeah, I guess if he's not done by the June 5th, then it falls to Steve and Josh, yeah.
which I think was part of the beauty of the plan in a way, like getting something really has some teeth, that what can we do, hurry up, you
So
know?
this
Yeah.
is really not date, not kind of
Yeah. It's just, the entire back's hanging open. So, I mean, it's a little out, I don't know, maybe he's gonna, I guess, build the new back
I'm sure it's gonna be
wall
easier
off of
with
the
a
deck.
there, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, you don't have to do scaffolding, so. So, that's all I had. I don't think there's any motion or anything, but I guess, that's
Yeah.
just kind of where we're at. And I
Yeah.
guess if Josh and Steve are, looking at what's there, but, you know, I mean, I don't see any access to the ground from the deck. There weren't any stairs or anything, so, I mean, if somebody, I guess, wanted to climb up there and get in, I guess they could.
All right,
That's all I had.
thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.